It's time for the Movin the Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
What's up, guys? Kevin Thomas, John Epps here from Movin the Chains. John, week 0 is here. Football's finally here. I know we got a little bit of a taste of it last week doing our preview shows and whatnot, but man, this week it counts.
Yeah, we actually get to hit the field, games that matter. We can quit talking about what happened at scrimmages, who's holding back, who's not showing their cards, jamborees, and the wild stuff that we saw with some media days that some schools were putting out this week. Now, talking season is over.
Yep.
We actually hit the field, really see what everybody's got.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a big week. We've got a lot of really good games. We'll kind of get into it here in a minute. We've got our games of the week as always. Got a statewide look ahead. Lots of super good stuff for you guys. If this is your first time tuning in, we really appreciate you guys. Follow us on Facebook at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Also on Twitter and Instagram with that same channel, and on YouTube. We do an audio-only version that comes out on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, etc. Every Tuesday during the season, we do a weekly preview show right here around 7 o'clock or so. On Sundays, we do a recap show. That's not live. That comes out only on the podcast version. Then we also sprinkle in interviews throughout the season, things like that. Also, check out our new website, movinchains.com. Just launched that last week. Lots of really good stuff, like all our videos. It's got it's got our road trip on. It's going to have our poll on that we're going to come out with, John. It's got a message board. The locker room, you guys can get in there and give your thoughts on what we say, give your thoughts on the season, and just talk some ball between some different folks there, John. Really cool thing we're hoping to get popping off soon here. But anything else you want to mention before we kind of get going here tonight with our week 0 preview?
Yeah, I love we've got, and I know we talked about this last year too. The way that high school football is segmented out is a lot of fun. You've got the first half of the season, non-region games. Second half, you got your battles for region.
Yep.
You know, who's in the playoffs, who's going to get the 1 seed. But I love this part of the season because, and we'll get right into it here, you've got some really good teams playing some really good teams that are different classifications. Yeah. You got some matchups that are, a team from one part of the state against a team from another part of the state. You know, you got some clashing styles of football, some different philosophies coming together, and it makes for some really good football. And what's great for us, in a way, a little unpredictable.
Yeah.
You know, these are some of the tougher games to think about. On, hey, who do we really think's going to win? Who's going to have the advantage?
Yep.
Especially week 0.
Yeah, because you've seen scrimmages, jamborees, but whatever. Like you said, some teams don't try to win those. So they just try to make, just work on a few things here and there. But let's get right into it, John. Our games of the week brought to you by our friends at Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, Kona over there here in the upstate. The first one we want to hit, John, Gaffney at South Pointe. D3 Stadium over in Rock Hill, Saturday night. It's the Saturday night game, folks. 5A champs, the Gaffney Indians, versus the 4A champs, the South Pointe Stallions. The first ever meeting between these two squads. South Pointe, kind of a newer school, but still first meeting between those two. John, let's talk about Gaffney first. We know what they've got back. Quarterback Grayson Loftus, receivers Shug Jeffries, Deshaun Corey. On defense, they've got linebacker Nathan Johnson, linebacker Brayshawn Littlejohn. Just moved to Missouri a couple nights ago. Last year, the offense was solid. They were led by running backs Tyler Smith, Ken Littlejohn. Both those guys are gone. They also lose 3 linemen they're having to kind of replace. They got a running back, Quay Tate, who may kind of fill the void. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with him. But another thing I want to mention, John, about last year's team, and actually let's get to this later here, but let's hit on South Pointe. What they've got from that receiver DB, DJ Barksdale, really good player there. Jonathan Williams at linebacker. They've got Xavion Currency at kind of an athlete. Running back Caleb Williams, and a new quarterback, Malachi Marshall, taking over from the McCrory kid. Throwing it around to Jakiri, Rawlinson, and things like that. John, first thoughts on this game here between Gaffney and South Pointe. What were you leaning here?
Well, I like Gaffney a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
They've got, you mentioned all the guys that are losing from such a good team from last year, state champs. Finally had somebody knock off Dutch Sport, but the straw that stirs the drink is your quarterback.
Yeah,
Grayson Loftus, another year of experience under his belt. Now a 12th grader, getting to lead the team. It's going to be his team 100% this year. I think they're in great hands with Loftus, and that's going to really pay off big dividends here early in the season.
Yeah,
as teams try to get their footing. Specifically, South Pointe Stallions. We got a new head coach. No longer is Gamecock great Devontae Holloman going to be leading South Pointe. We got a new head coach at South Pointe. Going to be interesting to see if that changes their philosophy on the football field. We'll get to see how their preseason, how everything was gelling together under a little bit of a new coaching staff for South Pointe. They got the talent. They got the players. We saw them play Beaufort. Or you saw them twice last year. I saw them once. The way that they dominated that state championship game over a really good Beaufort team is really incredible. They are going to give Gaffney all that they want on Friday or Saturday night rather. That's going to be a tremendous game. Gaffney's got to be on point. They got to do the same things they did last year.
Yeah.
They got to, all three phases of the football game, they were really good, really aggressive, really tough on defense, really athletic, really pressing you offensively with all their weapons. But special teams. Yeah. That's where they won close football games. And they had a handful of close games last year. And it seemed like every week there was a close game for the Gaffney Indians. Their special teams or their defense got a big turnover, or they made a big play on a punt return or a punt block. Look to see if they can do that this year as well. But I like Gaffney a little bit more in this one.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention a minute ago. Gaffney last year, obviously they had the good offense led by Smith, Littlejohn, and Loftus there. But I think their calling card and really kept winning the games. They were so opportunistic. They would take the ball away at the right time with a nice pick by Landon Bullock or a fumble or whatever it was. Or either they would block a punt or a big return, something like that. Like I said, through all three phases, they were so sound last year, special teams, defense, and offense. And that's something that if they can, continue that this year, they're going to be hard out again, of course. I think I like to lean Gaffney in this game, too, with South Pointe breaking in the new quarterback, especially. It's going to be a tough matchup against a good Gaffney defense with Johnson and Littlejohn rushing those guys, putting them up front as well, get some pressure there. Going to be a tough day for Malachi Marshall, I feel like. D3 Stadium is not an easy place to play, not at all. But Gaffney has experience playing Rock Hill over the years, playing Northwestern over the years. I mean, we mentioned this the first time at South Pointe, but they played the other guys in Rock Hill several times. So they're no stranger to that. Being a Saturday night game is a little bit odd. Also being the second game of kind of a little series there, that may cause some confusions, like, what time they're going to start exactly, if it gets pushed back, something like that. But I think you've got to lean Gaffney. Just they bring back a little bit more firepower and talent than what South Pointe does, I feel like. Both will be very good teams. Eventually, I think this week 0 matchup, I think, has got to lean to the Gaffney Indians. I think so, too. And I'm interested in what the game plan for the day is for both of these programs. Yeah. Because typically, you get out of school a little after 3, everybody stays in the lunchroom or comes to the gym, whatever it may be, and you eat a little bit, you hang out a little bit before you get to the locker room, before you get on the bus and go to the game. But being a Saturday, if I'm one of these head coaches, or both of these head coaches, honestly, and I know they know better than I do, get these kids in to the school as early as you can. Yeah. But you got to keep everybody busy. You got to have something going on, something doing. But you don't want to have a Saturday and, everybody running around doing who knows what on Saturday afternoon and then trying to corral everybody together to get ready for this game. But I trust both of these programs. They know what they're doing. They know big-time football. They'll be ready to go. Everybody, I think, will be on the bus at the appropriate time to be ready to go to District 3
And it's going to be a great environment.
Yeah.
Gaffney's not a team that's going to be intimidated.
Yep.
That they're not going to be thrown off by the bright lights. And being the first game of the year, I don't think the schedule of it being a Saturday game is really going to be a big effect on either side. If this was the 4th, 5th game of the year,
maybe so,
all right, maybe a little bit different because you're changing things up from how you've been doing it. First game of the year, I think both sides are going to be fine. I expect a well-played game. First games, you always got some penalties, you got some jitters, you got some mistakes. You're going to have that thing bite. But I think it's going to be a very, very well-played game. And how many times do you get number one against number one?
Yeah.
You don't defending state champs. And it's incredible that they haven't played each other.
Yeah.
We got to play this game more often.
I agree.
Great that both schools are getting this game together.
Our next game of the week, we have the Myrtle Beach Seahawks traveling over to Camden to take on the Bulldogs at Zemp Stadium. John, Myrtle Beach, they're replacing a good bit. They lost maybe 2 of the top 5, top 10 best players in the state last year in at receiver Adam Randall, quarterback Ryan Berger. They've got a new quarterback trade done out of West Virginia. His family moved down here. You're a little worried about Trey because he didn't play in the scrimmage last Friday night. Or last Saturday, whatever day it was. So they say that he should be good to go. But Trey Dunn taking over that quarterback spot. I like they got it running back with Cam Ward and Malachi Washington, 2 really good guys there. Both playing some defense and offense for them. Receiver Jake Doty is back again. They got 3 offensive linemen back, which is a plus there. But the problem, John, with Myrtle Beach, they lost 9 defensive starters. That's not ideal for late or for early or for any season really, especially a first game. But they're playing a team without a great offense, so it might work out for them. The Camden Bulldogs. They're led up front on defensive line by Xavier McLeod and Shamik Jones. Both big-time recruits. Xavier McLeod actually committing on Thursday night. Finalists are Florida, Georgia, South Carolina. Definitely check that out there. Quarterback Grayson White is back for the Bulldogs, John. He was a guy that wasn't supposed to be the quarterback last year.
Yeah. Had
some injuries. He shuffled around. He got put in there. Did a very good job. Very good job there. But, with Camden, they're never going to be the explosive offense like some of these other teams we talk about. They're going to be built on defense and a running game. So that's what worries me. I think that if Myrtle Beach with Trey Dunn and those guys can get a couple scores, put Camden playing catch-up mode, might be too much for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and, Camden under Coach Remp, they've been incredibly successful, very good team. But some of the games, not all the games, but some of the games that they lose, especially when they run into Daniel, they run into a really good offense, and they just have a hard time keeping up to that firepower. Good news, though, and this is what makes this game so intriguing, their defense is so doggone good.
Yeah.
We saw how good that AC Florida team was last season. That was a 3-0 ball game in favor of the Falcons. Camden can play good defense as anybody in the state. Mm-hmm. They're right there. But it seemed interesting to see on both sides.
Yeah.
We hear out of camp at Clemson about how good and how impressive Adam Randall has been. So it's really clear how good he was. He's going to be tough to replace. It's going to be a really, I want to say, I think this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to happen. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I like Myrtle Beach in this game. I think they're probably a little bit better of a team all around. Mm-hmm. But they lost so much too. It's hard to tell. Camden's got the experience coming back. Jarrell was mentioning this earlier in the week. He early in the season he likes to side with the team with the better defense. Mm-hmm. So maybe some people want to lean Camden for that reason. If Camden's playing at home, it's
trying to ring the bell. Trying to ring the bell.
Yeah, Zemp Stadium's an awesome atmosphere. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be a really, really good game. I lean Myrtle Beach a little bit here, but won't be surprised if Camden pulls it out either.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think I'm leaning the Seahawks right now. I'm really impressed with Trey Dunn. I've seen some highlights of him. He looks like a really good ball player at the quarterback spot. I think Myrtle Beach I want to say a close game because I think these teams are kind of evenly matched as far as just like overall talent level. But I feel like if Myrtle Beach can get up by a couple scores, that they might win by a couple scores just because Camden can't play to catch up to them. But our third game of the week, maybe the best game in the state, John. Friday night, this one is Gray Collegiate at Oceanside Collegiate. The defending 2A state champion Gray Collegiate Warriors travel down to Johnson Haygood to take on Oceanside Collegiate, the Land Sharks, who are moving down to 2A from 3A this year, where they were very competitive the last couple of years. John, initial thoughts on this game before I read through some of my notes here for these guys.
Yeah, this was a good game last year. Mm-hmm. Oceanside and Gray played each other. Gray won that game 33-22. If you watched this at all last year, you know how exciting and how much talent Gray had on their sideline last year. Notably, Casey Adams, guy that had
Mr. 3K.
over 3,000 yards in one season, which is just mind-boggling. But if you saw him play, it all made sense.
Yeah.
For Gray to have to replace that is going to be a task that I'm glad that I don't have.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of talent on that Gray team. Oceanside, a very, very good team in their own right. Doesn't matter whether they're 3A or they're being 2A. They're a good football team. They are very, very well coached. This is going to be a really good game. This is in the media poll. I believe this is number 1 in Gray and number 3 in Oceanside in the rankings. So a top 3 matchup outside of South Pointe, Gaffney. I believe the only top 3 matchup in the state.
I think so. I think you're right about that.
So it's going to be a really good game. Both of these teams are in the same side. Both of them are in Lower State. So this could be a preview of the Lower State Championship for 2A as well. So a lot of, not necessarily a lot on the line, being a non-region game, but both of these teams have aspirations on going to the Weekend of Champions, and this game will tell each of them a ton about where they are and what they need to do to get to Columbia at the end of the season.
No doubt. Gray Collegiate will be led by quarterback Riley Staten, running backs B.J. Montgomery and Caleb Ford trying to replace Casey Adams there. But they've got a lot of really good receivers, John. Zai Alford, Devin Johnson, Savion Smith, to name a few of those guys. Up front, led by Lala Radden and the Soul Kid there. It's interesting to see what Coach Holmes does kind of strategically on offense there this year, because, last year with KZ and with Trey Robinson, keep the ball on the ground as much as you can with those guys. They just run it. This year with the Staten kid back there, he can really sling it. You wonder if you thought they got to open it up a little bit more than what they did last year. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of goes. I did see a quick comment here from Robert, says Gray is the upstate.
Oh, okay.
I know they were last year. That may have gotten changed. I'm not sure.
Maybe they were both Lower State last year. Well, Oceanside was a different classification, so it doesn't matter.
But anyway, yeah. Then Oceanside under new coach Chad Wilkes, great guy coming over from Lamar. We had him on a couple months ago. I'll go check out that interview. Running back Von Blue, one of the best players in the state, a Charlotte commit right now. I think he's a 2-time region player of the year already. Really good running back. Everybody knows with the offensive lineman Monroe Freeling up front. He's a big time recruit there. Looking at Clemson and all the other schools there. Defensive lineman Timmy Castine's a really good player, and then Ben Britton on the line as well is good. Good for them. John, this is a game where I don't know what I want to do. I'm a huge fan of what Coach Holmes does at Gray. I think he's a really good coach there. But I also really like Oceanside. And I feel like Oceanside is maybe a little bit more known commodity right now, at least for early in the year, if that makes sense. Like, we know what we're getting out of Von Blue. We know what we're getting from those guys up front. We know they're going to be tough and going to run the ball and even throw it. The one question is quarterback for those guys. Like, they're still kind of figuring that out, I feel like. But then with Gray, you're like, it's a lot to replace there. So, what do you think, John?
I got the opportunity to see Gray a couple times last year, and as good as Casey Adams was, as good as that team was last year with the 12th graders they had, there's talent all over the field. Mm-hmm. They play very clean football. They play smart football. Defensively, they play really, really well. Mm-hmm. I have confidence Coach Holmes is going to have that group ready, and maybe they are a pass first, run second team this year. That's okay.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. Play to your strengths, and I think of the world of Oceanside as well. But and maybe it's just because I haven't seen Oceanside play.
Yeah.
But I like what I've seen from Gray, and I believe in those guys being ready for this game and being able to win. But hey, playing at Hagen Stadium, I mean that's a pretty cool environment. That's you're not going to play in a bigger stadium than that.
Yep.
All season long. I don't think that gets to the guys at Gray, but who knows?
Yeah. I think I'm going to lean Oceanside just because I think that, like I said, being week 0, I think we know what they're going to be. We know how they're going to play. I think Gray may still be the match to figure out a few things, obviously on the run, like what works better for them. So I'm going to slide Oceanside lean there, but honestly, if either team wins, I would not be surprised. The only way I would be surprised if it's a blowout. That would surprise me.
Yeah, I don't expect it to be a 2-score game either way. Let me say that I don't expect it to be a double-digit game.
Okay.
Maybe 8, 9, 10 points, maybe. I don't expect it to be even worse than that.
Yeah. Our fourth Kona game of the week here. South Florence at Goose Creek. This year matchup here, John, two really good quarterbacks. South Florence led by Lenore Sellers, who got hurt midway through last year, had a shoulder thing. He's back, better than ever. Goose Creek led by quarterback Drew Moore. Also have running back Dimitri Simmons back. Really, really fast. Really, really fast. Really explosive there. They did lose 26 seniors, the Gators did last year. That's tough to come back with. But like we mentioned last week, John, it's a team that knows how to win. They've won 3 region titles in a row. South Florence, a long trip down there to Goose Creek. Where are you leaning here in this ball game?
I'm leaning South Florence. I think they're the better team. Being healthy, that this was one of the most exciting and arguably best teams in the state. Not arguably, they were one of the best teams in the state.
Yeah.
Before Sellers went down. Go back to that. What I think double, maybe triple overtime thriller against South Pointe.
Yep.
Where really they lost the game on extra points.
Yeah.
They're just as good. But you look at Goose Creek across the line. They took Fort Dorchester to the final minute. Yeah. Lost that game 38-34 last year. They're definitely good. You look at their record, Goose Creek only 7-5 last year. They're still a really good team. They're better than what that record showed. They're a really, really good group. But I think South Florence, being 100% healthy, this is the worst time to play the Bruins.
Yeah.
Because I think they are as good as anybody if they can keep rolling what they had going on last year, especially offensively.
Yep.
Defensively, they could get better.
Yeah.
Offensively, with Sellers behind the helm, they are really, really tough. And that can travel.
Yep.
That kind of talent. They say defense travels.
Yeah.
That kind of talent.
Really good dual
that
threat
can travel too. That's going to be a really exciting game. That's going to be a tough game. Goose Creek's usually a very physical group. That's going to be a tough game for South Florence to start with. But I think getting that game right off the bat and being 100% is the best thing that South Florence can have going for them. I like the Bruins in this one a little bit.
Yeah, I do too. And one thing I was reading about these guys a week or so ago, obviously everybody knows about Lenore Sellers, but I think the defense may end up being the strength of the team. They've got a lot of 3-year starters, guys who started as freshmen and sophomores who are really grown up now, and they are supposedly one of the fastest defenses around. These guys can run on the defensive side. I like what Sellers does. I like the hype of the defense there. I'm leaning South Florence as well here in this week 0 matchup against Goose Creek.
And I think some people, and maybe we're just a little different, I think some people would call this a little bit of an upset if South Florence is to go down to Goose Creek and win. But, these guys, they got a taste of success last year at South Florence. They know they can play ball. And I think they got probably a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, a bit of a hunger, because they didn't get to accomplish everything that they felt like they probably could have had they been 100% last year. So I expect them to be hungry, ready to go. That's going to be an exciting game because Goose Creek, they're not going to let anybody come down there and push them around either.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun game to keep up with right there.
For sure. And then our final game of the week, our schsfb game of the week, we're going to add in one of these each week, John. Laurence Manning, the Swamp Cats, taking on the Lake City Panthers over at Lake City. Lake City, John, had a tough luck season last year. Only got to play 7 games due to COVID. Really weird situation over there. They do return 8 starters on defense, led by Presley McFadden on the D-line and linebacker Corey Wilson. Offense is young. They're still trying to figure out the quarterback situation. They do have an athlete, James Peterson, I like a lot on offense. But Laurence Manning, another schsfb team, they can score some points. They got a receiver, Brandon King, plays receiver DB, big kid, getting some good offers there. They like to spread it around, throw the ball all over the place. Coach Will First does a good job there. Do you think this schsfb school can go on the road and take down the Panthers?
I don't think so quite. I don't think it's going to be quite that. I don't think they'll be able to do it. But this is the toughest game for me to predict because I just don't get to see a whole lot of schsfb football. I don't know a ton about it. From what I can tell, it looks like the gap between public school football and private school football is getting more and more narrow. There's more talent coming into these private schools, coming to the schsfb schools. I think it could be a pretty doggone good game.
Yeah.
The fact that Laurence Manning has got some talent, it doesn't matter whether you're private school or not. If you're talented,
you can play, right?
Yeah, you can play. And those guys can be fired up to play in public school. So I think we'll have a pretty good game on our hand. But a kind of a coin flip for me, coin flip kind of game. I lean toward the public school, lean toward Lake City. And it's not like Lake City was bad.
Right.
They didn't get to play a ton last year. And, if you're not playing every week, it's hard to get in a rhythm. One game I look at from Lake City last year, they played Camden really tough.
Yeah.
They played a tough, nail-biting defensive, what they call a rock fight kind of game.
Yeah.
So Lake City's tough, and I think that might be the difference in this one.
I like that. I'm going to lean Laurence Bennett, actually. I like that King kid a lot. And I think the issues on offense for Lake City really scare me this early in the year, like not knowing what to do with the quarterback, not really knowing who your playmakers are. That worries me a little bit. I'm going to lean Laurence Bennett. I know that obviously game means a lot to those kids, of course. They don't get to play many
Big time.
Public schools. I think they're going to come out firing and ready to roll. So I'm going to lean Swamp Cats here a week 0, John. So that's all of our Kona games of the week, John. I'm going to do a quick shout out to our friends here, and then maybe we'll run through the rest of the statewide schedule here in a second.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, always another friend back in this year, the Georgia Agency, serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for 35 years. Full-line insurance agency concentrating employee benefits and health insurance in office in Mullins and Myrtle's Inlet. They can help you all across the state. They got clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, etc. Wherever you are, they can help you out, whether you're a business owner or need insurance for yourself. If it's not offered through your company. Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew, check out thegeorgiaagency.net. Also, our preview show brought to you by Security Advantage Federal Credit Union tonight. They offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do, John. Check them out, securityadvantagefcu.com. That's securityadvantagefcu.com. Win at banking, thrive at life. Another new friend here mentioning our game of the week, brought to you by Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, Kona. They offer a synergistic approach for spine, skeletal system, nervous system, and supporting structures, meaning total quality care for your optimal health. 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Kona.care. For more info, that's Kona.care. And then our new Stock Up, Stock Down feature sponsor that you'll hear on our recap shows, Founders Federal Credit Union. Get your head in the game with Founders Federal Credit Union. See how a Founders membership can elevate your game. Train your financial skills with a wide array of financial tools and services. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com today to see if you qualify for membership. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union. RelaxJoinFounders.com. So lots of new friends there. If you guys want to get your company involved, let us know. We're always here to help you out, and this helps us do more things with the show this year. So love to get some more guys on board for sure, John. But let's roll through some of the statewide scoreboard here. If we have a game that we want to make a comment about, let's do that. And then we'll kind of hop in with that. I do want to read some quick viewer comments here. Robert Altman says, the runner for Oceanside is great. Von Blue, he's a really good player. Daniel said, didn't like the poll in 1A yet. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Robert says, what will be the blowout games? We'll get to that here also, and also a comment on the 2A polls. Bradley Ramsey talks about the Gaffney talent they lost. Yep, there's a lot there. Zach says, week 0 here, time for football. That's right. Also asked about Clinton and Batesburg, Leesville. We'll get to that one here in a second. Zach. Kevin says, what about Edisto? Yeah, I'm not sure who they're playing, but we'll get to that one here as well, Kevin. I appreciate you tuning in. But, John, let's start going through. Do you want to start 5A or you want to start with the 1A school? You tell me.
Let's go 1A and go work our way up.
Let's do that.
All right, we'll kick it off. Ridge Spring Minetta will be at Augusta Christian. Edisto, Kirvon, it's going to be a tough task here week 0. They've got to travel down to Bamberg, Earhart to take on those guys.
I'm going to lean Bamberg. Sorry, Kevron. The Raiders are good this year. Edisto, they're still kind of building, but I like what BE will be this year for sure.
Great measuring stick right off the bat, though, for those guys. See what you got, see what you need to work on right there.
I do want to mention, go back to that RSM game. Another Skis High School League matchup there between RSM and Augusta Christian. Mr. Minetta is replacing the quarterback, the Lee Park kid I liked a lot, but they've got some good talent coming back. Interesting matchup there to see how good they are. We'll find out kind of early what they can do.
We'll have Wilson Elko going to Barnwell, Pillion at Bethune-Bowman, and that is that game tomorrow night?
Wednesday night, yeah. Just got moved to Wednesday due to, I'm not really sure why they moved it. They moved it to Wednesday.
Well, if you got nothing to do on a Wednesday,
go
down in the Bethune-Bowman area.
Go check them out.
You'll have Stall at Burke, Cross at Calhoun County. Here, another Skis Public School mix. Northside Christian playing at Calhoun Falls. Mm-hmm. C.A. Johnson at Columbia. Branchville at Dorchester Academy. Louisville will be at East Clarendon. Ridgeland Hardyville at Estill. Carvers Bay at Fairfield Central. That's an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
Good Carvers Bay team. Also a pretty good Fairfield Central team, a bit bigger of a group that they'll be facing over in Winsboro. But nice matchup. Good matchup for those two teams. Denmark Olar will be at First Baptist. Heathwood Hall going to Great Falls. I'll tell you right now, I doubt any of those kids at Heathwood Hall have ever been to Great Falls.
Probably not.
They probably don't even know Great Falls exists. So that would be a cool bus ride for them. Get to see a different part of the state. Lamar will be at Hemingway. Scotts Branch at Hunter Kenner Tyler. St. John's will be at James Island. North Central will go down to Johnsonville. Marion at Lakeview.
Thursday night. That's going to be a fun game. Marion, Gabe Cusack, Quaysheet Scott, those guys, really good athletes. Lakeview, they got to find a couple pieces. They got the Foxborough kid at running back. They lost a quarterback from last year, the Buffet kid, who was a really good baller. They got the receiver, Shaheed Dawkins. They can find somebody to get him the ball is going to be the question there. Lakeview's all got strong defense, of course, so we know. But that'll be a fun game over in Lakeview on Thursday night. I think I'm going to lean Marion there.
Okay.
A little more solidified about what they're going to do, I think, on offense.
Okay.
They don't have any question marks going into the year. I'm going to go with the Swamp Foxes here. We see right.
Winning on the road at Lakeview. That's all right. I may have to go Lakeview on that. That's gonna be a fun one.
It'll be a fun ball game for sure.
We got Green Sea Floyd's going to Laurence. Hannah Pamplico at McBee.
Homecoming for head coach Jamie Johnson, a McBee grad, now coaching Hannah Pamplico. We'll find out pretty early what those guys have. I know we mentioned they were replacing a lot. They got the Poston kid at quarterback, Sellers kid out wide. I think Hannah Pamplico will show us something here in game one.
We've got Abbeville at McCormick, Latta going to Mullins, Military Magnet at North Charleston, Dixie at Pendleton, Commerce coming up from Georgia playing Southside Christian. That could be a good game there. Fox Creek will be at St. Joseph's, Allendale Fairfax at Wagner Sally, and Ware Shoals will go to Whitmire. We saw Whitmire Stadium earlier this year.
Past it.
Yeah, nice setup Whitmire's got over there.
Yeah, it's a cool spot there. If you haven't been, go check out Whitmire's spot. It's very nice, very nice. Chris Blunt says, "What's up, guys? Chris, what's going on, man? Good to have you in here. We appreciate you."
We'll want to roll right into 2A here.
Let's do it.
All right, we've got Philip Simmons at Andrews. We've got Porter Gowd going to Bishop, England. Buford going to Blacksburg. Chesney at Blue Ridge. Liberty at Carolina. Batesburg, Leesville at Clinton. They were asked about this game. I like the Red Devils.
I do too. Clinton's got a lot of pieces back. Bryson James, a really good player there. That offense they run is tough to prepare for. It's kind of a coastal-ish, a lot of motion, a lot of flex ball, but it's out of shotgun type deal.
A bit of a veer.
Yeah, fun stuff there. Batesburg, Leesville, always got athletes, but that whole coach situation has gotten me kind of thrown off. Where they get the calf cart guy, he talks so much trash, he leaves. They got Greg Lawson now, or Greg Hill. Which one?
I believe it's Lawson.
Greg Lawson now. Kind of a weird setup down there. I'm gonna go Clinton. I think the Red Devils big winners here week 0. They might win by a couple scores.
I think so too, and nothing against Batesburg Leesville. I just think Clinton's a really good team.
Yeah.
They're probably a team where in that locker room they're probably thinking, hey, we've got some unfinished business to take care of this year. They're a really, really good team last year. It's just not quite there. But I think Clinton will have a pretty special season this year. Moving on, we got Dreer going to Keenan, breaking the Corey Jenkins era as a coach at Dreer. So that'll be fun. Manning will be at Kingstree.
Sleeper team, Kingstree. Watch out.
Yeah, and we've got Kingstree getting an influx of new kids.
Yep, C.E. Murray combining with Kingstree. That'll be a good team to watch this year. Very fun team to watch, I think.
We've got Lucy Beckham at Lake Marion. First
official game for Lucy Beckham there. They've looked very impressive in the scrimmages. I'm going to say that. Interesting to see how well they put it together in the games with A.J. Cutt, Tyrell Milligan, and whatnot. They're on the side. Lucy Beckham, I think, is going to be a team to watch. They've got a good chance to make the playoffs here in year 1, John.
And I tell you, we can't write them off just because, they're a new school. Remember 2 years ago what Catawba Ridge did in their first season playing football? Boy, they went just straight fire and really put it on a lot of people early. So it can certainly be done. We've got Strom Thurmond going down over the state line to play Laney High School out of Georgia. Don't know anything about Laney, but excited to see what the Rebels are capable of this year. We've got Chesterfield going to Lee Central. We've got Union playing at Newberry.
Another homecoming game. Head coach Cedric Jeter for Newberry, Union County grad. So we've got 2 of those games, guys going back to play at home at least so far this year. I think Union County is still a little bit down. I know they're 3A compared to 2A of Newberry. I think Newberry gets the win on the road here to start the season.
Well, that game is at Newberry, I believe.
Even better. I like Newberry's chances even better now playing at home with Shaquille Good, some of those guys, Tyrell Brown up front. I like what the Bulldogs are doing. They've got a good chance to win this ball game.
I do too. Newberry's another team where they've been really, really good, but they've been in a tough region, and they, they've been right there too.
Yep.
I like Newberry in this game as well, and I love Coach Jeter. I think
Yeah.
he's gonna bring some really good attitude. Not a new attitude, just keep it rolling.
Yep.
At Newberry, such a good program down there. We've got Emerald at 96. As we talked about, Gray at Oceanside, big 2A game there. Mid Carolina at Saluda. South Aiken at Silver Bluff. This is a big time game right here.
Big matchup here. This is one of our weekly pick'em games. We'll get to. Silver Bluff. We talked to Coach Bryant. The interview dropped last night. They've got some talent back. Guys like Malik Williams at quarterback, obviously Arthur Walker, those type of guys there. Jordan Boyd, really good players. They're replacing Trayvon Dunbar, replacing McLeod kid on defense. South Aiken has a chance to make a run in 4A, I think, John. I know Silver Bluff's a very tough place to play, but another thing, like one of my worries, one of my themes you keep hearing me say is week 0 questions. You don't really know about these guys yet, and I think that's the problem. If this game was week 5, week 6, I may lean Silver Bluff, but I think week 0, I may have to lean to the thoroughbreds over there at South Aiken.
I like Silver Bluff.
Okay.
I've got a lot of these programs, a lot of these teams where if I'm not too short, I know Silver Bluff, year in, year out, they're going to be tough.
Yeah.
And South Aiken's really good. They had a good year last year, too.
Quarterback's a really good player there for them.
I want to lean the Silver Bluff on
Okay.
this one. And then to round it out, we've got Berkeley going to Timberland, and Collegiate County will be going to Wade Hampton. That's Wade Hampton down in the Low Country to round out the 2A schedule. 3A, probably my favorite classification. Typically every year, I guess. Just a lot of storylines in 3A. We've got Swansea will be at Airport.
First game for new coach Andre Cook. Those guys with him and his son Apollos, they've looked really good the last few games or the last few scrimmages. I think Airport gets a win to start off Coach Cook's career here.
Yeah, I think I like that too, and I think Airport could be a team a little bit of a sleeper this year as well.
Yeah.
We've got Wilson will be at Aner. We've got Cane Bay at Beaufort. Powdersville at Broome. Here's a big game. Brooklyn Casey going up to Burns to play at Nixon Field.
This may be the game that we're at Friday night right now. And it's a weird matchup, John. Burns, you don't really see a lot of 5A, 3A, honestly, playing a whole lot. So it'll be fun to see. Burns last year, we were big fans of Gabe Rogers. They put up so many points. They were destroying everybody, but they couldn't stop anybody.
Yeah.
Defense was awful. This year, they lose Gabe Rogers. They've got Coach Shaw's son, Colby Shaw, playing quarterback. A lot of talent around him. Kanai Cook, Mac Long, the Beaumar kid, the transfer from Dorman. He played QB at Dorman last year. He's playing some DB receiver now. Defensively, they've got, obviously, the Beaumar kid. They've got Mikkel Dingle, a recent commit to Texas Tech at linebacker. Like the McKill 7-on-7s, I've heard some issues maybe on the offensive and defensive line. Hopefully, those guys have that shored up. I don't know. We look at Brooklyn Casey, John. One of our favorite players in the state, Tanner Staten, at quarterback there. Really good player for them. Running back Ezekiel Mays is a good athlete as well. They've got some talent around. Do you think the 3A school will come up to the upstate and beat the 5A school in Burns?
I don't think they can. I think they will.
Okay.
We saw Camden do it before.
Yeah.
Go up to Nixon Field and win. And this Brooklyn Casey team, they're constructed a little bit different than a Camden team. They're going to want to throw the ball. But when you think on paper, you think Burns, you think 5A, okay, getting a 3A team, and they're coming up through the upstate. And, the physicality could be and depth maybe could be a little bit too much. Not for these guys.
Yeah.
BC is the team that play with attitude. They play with some aggression, mean intentions, as people say. They're going to come with some attitude. They're not going to get pushed around at all.
Yeah, you look at it, you think 5A, obviously you think Burns, they're going to have an advantage in depth. They just are just from numbers-wise, of course. But I think as far as athletes go, BC has just as many athletes as Burns does, I feel
Absolutely.
Like. And I've been kind of wrestling this today. I was thinking about this game earlier, and the whole depth thing. Obviously, with it being week 0, Brooklyn Casey shouldn't be beat up, really, so depth shouldn't matter on that side of it, really, as far as that. But, John, what do we always see happening in weeks 0, weeks 1, weeks 2, when it's so hot in August? What do we see this second half, third quarter, fourth quarter? A bunch of cramps. Burns, they'll have the luxury of putting in maybe a little bit better backup than what Brooklyn Casey does when those cramps pop up. So you got to make sure you stay hydrated if you're the Bearcats. No doubt about it there. But I think I'm leaning with you, Joe. I think Tanner Staten is going to make a statement. I think the whole Brooklyn KC team is going to make a statement. They scheduled some tough teams this year in non-region play. I think they're going to win this ballgame Friday night at Nixon Field.
And they've got more, Burns has got more to lose in this game because they're hosting a 3A team. You're expected to win this game. Really, you should win this game. Burns is coming in the media poll that we may get to later if we've got time. They're a top 10 team. All these kids that are not from the upstate, they hear this stuff. They hear chuckleheads like me and you talk up all these teams and go, hey, don't forget about us. We're good too. And that's what I love about these non-region games where you've got teams from the Midlands coming to the upstate, teams from the lower state, branching out and playing outside of their comfort zone out of 8-4-3.
Yeah.
You get kids that are real hungry and really want to prove a point.
Yeah.
And not that the Burns guys won't.
Right.
But I feel like the BC kids have got more they want to prove.
Yes.
On their side. I think you're going to see that Friday night too.
I like that. I do want to circle back to one more game you mentioned a minute ago. Camden and Buford. A game, the Cobras and the Eagles. Good ball game there. Buford dropping down from 4A to 3A. We'll find out a lot about them this week. They've got a lot back on the defensive side. Don't know about offense. That'll be a fun one to watch this Friday night. But let's keep rolling here in 3A, John.
Well, we're not going to get too far. We got another really good one to talk about here. We talked about here a good bit before. Myrtle Beach going up to Zimp Stadium in Camden. That's going to be a really fun game too. Another little jump in classification.
Yeah.
4A Myrtle Beach, 3A Camden.
Yeah, if you guys missed that, obviously when the show is over, you can go back. We talked about that one of our games of the week. Same thing, we got Tyrell Fokker asking about Mount Marion and Lakeview. Talked about that game a few minutes ago, Tyrell. Yeah, gonna be a fun game. Interesting to see, what Lakeview has at quarterback. I know they've got some good athletes around that position. Defense is really good there. Marion's got some kids coming too, Cusack and Scott. That's going to be, I think, an offensive kind of showing on Friday night for sure.
Yeah, it certainly could be. And I saw Dajan comment, hey, hope the rain holds off.
Amen.
Another thing, and if it does hold off, it should be a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have quite as many cramps as we see on those, 80, 85 degree kickoffs that we normally see to start the season.
That's right.
Moving on, we've got Liberty will go to Carolina. We've got Woodruff at Chapman.
A sneaky game there. Woodruff, they like to spread it out. Coach Abrams does there. Chapman, we don't know what they've got. They lost a lot last year. That'll tell us a lot about those guys here in week 0.
Yeah. You expect Chapman to be good, but Woodruff, they're a confident group.
Yeah. They're
going to be ready to play. Going on, we got Pickens going to Crescent. Greer at Daniel.
Fun game there. Daniel obviously got to find out their quarterback situation. They've got a lot of talent. The Mert kid around him, Brown Wallace, all those guys, Myson Kelly. See what they got. They got the Blaine Simons kid playing quarterback. See how good he is there. Greer, they've had a couple down years in a row. Got some good talent. Got a receiver, Chase Bird, running back with Danny and Martin, 2 good players there. Same thing, quarterback issues. But I think Daniel wins that game. But that could be interesting to see just how the quarterback play looks for the Lions.
Yeah, I like Daniel in that game too, but I'm more concerned about what are these 2 teams look like, especially Daniel. After Trent Pierman, such a great career.
Yeah,
Pierman had at Daniel. See how they can try to best replace him. We've got another school breaking in their first game. We'll have West Oak playing at Fountain Inn. Going to break in that new stadium.
I think Fountain Inn, I think the Fury go 1-0 as well. I think Fountain Inn and Lucy Beckham both win their first games this weekend in their first ever ball games that they'll be playing. I think both those teams go 1-0. I like what Coach Nichols is doing there at Fountain Inn. Lots of talent down there. I think those guys and Lucy Beckham both win this weekend.
And I hope that they have a big crowd at Fountain Inn.
I hope so.
Lucy Beckham will be on the road at Fountain Inn getting to play at home, so that'll be cool. We got Georgetown going to Hanahan. Battery Creek will be at Hilton Head. We'll have, as we talked about in our Skeeza game of the week, Lawrence Manning going to Lake City. We'll have, there's a couple repeaters here.
Yep.
Woodmont will be at Palmetto. We have Crestwood at Richland Northeast. Travelers Rest at Riverside. That'll be an interesting game there.
That could be a fun one. Yeah.
Riverside dropping down from 5A to 4A. That's going to be a fun game. I think Riverside's another team that they dealt with some injuries.
Yep.
Quarterback Sanders getting hurt later in the year. That's a team that's going to have a little bit to prove this year, too.
Yeah, like I said, Rob Sanders, a quarterback, really good player. The receiver, the Crosby kid's back. TR, new coach Michael Lancaster, the longtime OL coach there at Dorman, coming over. Interesting to see what he's going to bring to that program. A team that has had some moderate success the last couple of years. Made the playoffs. Haven't made any deep runs, but they've made them at least. They had a good team. I think 2 years ago they scored a lot of points and maybe won a game or two. But an interesting matchup there in week 0 for sure.
Yeah, that TR program definitely on the right trajectory. They're definitely getting better, and be interesting to see the long-time Dorman offensive line coach what he can bring to that program too. We'll have Waccamaw at St. James, Lakewood at Sumter, a little in-town rivalry there. Seneca will play at Wade Hampton. That's the Wade Hampton in the upstate, of course.
Yeah, and that is Wade Hampton that hasn't won a game in 24 contests, I think it was, John. I don't know if they get it this week. Now, Seneca could be a good team before. They could be a sleeper. But hopefully Wade Hampton gets a win sometime soon.
They get the break of game to drop down to 4A this year.
Yep.
But Seneca can play.
Yep.
Seneca can play. I think they may have to wait till after this week.
Yeah.
I think this could be a good game. I like Seneca in this game a little bit.
One more note, Lakewood Sumter just announced they're moving that game from Sumter over to Lakewood due to field conditions at Memorial Stadium, which is, I guess, a lot of rain. I don't know.
Interesting.
But they're going to Lakewood now Friday night instead of over at Sumter Memorial.
Okay. We got Little Richland will play at West Ashley.
The Creek.
And closing out 3A, Orangeburg Wilkinson will go to White Knoll. Now, we want to jump right here in the 4-way. We have got some really high-powered games.
This one's talked about as possible game of the week right here for sure.
This is a game I wish I could split myself into a couple different people and go to this one. Greenwood at AC Flora. This is going to be a really, really fun game.
Yeah.
A lot of physicality in Greenwood, a lot of talent for AC Flora. New coach at Flora thinking, okay, maybe do they shift their philosophy on offense? Do they start running the ball more this year instead of spraying it out and passing the ball? Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and on the flip side, we know what Greenwood's going to do. They're going to get in that flex offense there and run it right down your throat. B. Morton, really, really good back there. They are replacing the quarterback with the Rafley kid. Coach Launder does a great job with those guys. This could be a very quick ball game because I think, like we mentioned, Greenwood's going to run a lot. And I think AC4 will too with Markel Townsend, really good running back, a big O-line. But they look very good after throwing the ball last couple weeks with Carew Bates, the quarterback, obviously your boy Chris Lofton out wide. They got some talent there too. I'm going to go Greenwood, I think, because that offense, I think it helps AC4. They're playing in week 0, so Greenwood is going to, they'll have some time to prepare for that offense at least. But I'm going to go Greenwood, the Eagles, B. Morton. I think those guys get a win out on the road at AC4 Friday night.
I think so, too. I like Greenwood in this game. My big question around Greenwood is replacing the quarterback.
Yeah.
They did such a good job of just keeping the defenses off balance. It was like watching the Greenwood offense last year. It was like watching the pitcher up there on the mound going, fastball, change up.
Yep.
And just having defenses just on their heels, second guessing the snap counting.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish there was a stat where we could pull how many times an offense drew a defense off sides. Because Greenwood may have led the state in it.
Yeah.
They were very, very good at just keeping defenses off balance. And can they do that breaking in a new quarterback this year? It'll be interesting to see because that was a huge part of what made them so good last year. That'll be interesting to see from Greenwood, see what they can do here Friday night. That's going to be an awesome game.
Yeah, it'll be a really good ball game.
We'll got Beach High School. How'd you like to go to Beach High School?
Sounds
Outside
great.
of Georgia. They are going to come across state lines to play Bluffton. We'll have Lancaster at Chester. Hartsville will be at Conway.
Hartsville, one of my sleepers this year. And I think Conway could be better as well. That'll be a fun game to see how that turns out.
Conway typically a better program than they've been last few years. And in Hartsville, they're going to be right in the mix for their region. They've been a good team to watch again. We'll have Greenville going up to Dorman. That'll be a fun game to watch. A Greenville team that was so good last year, had such a great season. And then Dorman, again.
Yeah.
New coaching staff at Dorman.
Yeah.
We'll see how they progress, how they change. But that'll be a really good game. A lot of talent on the football field for that matchup.
No doubt. Greenville's got to figure out the quarterback situation. They've had a couple of guys that are kind of rotating there. Dorman, I think, is very set on what they're going to do. They've got a pretty good quarterback, the lead kid. The running back, Foster, is a stud. Big offensive line, as we know. Got some athletes outside on both sides of the ball. Greenville, they can match up with them outside for sure with Tyler Brown, Mazio Bennett, guys like that. you do worry actually about the quarterback spot, what's going to happen. But they got good running backs with Jay Sherman, the transfer from Southside Christian, also Jaden Pepper. That'll be a fun game. I think I'm going to lean Dorman at home under Coach Curtis, but that'll be an interesting ball game on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Dorman to it, and I have so much respect for Coach Curtis. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the Dorman program, maybe not changes, but just how their philosophy on their offense may look and may change. I think they're going to be a really fun, high-power team to watch. Moving on, we've got North Augusta going down playing Evans out of Georgia. We'll have Catawba Ridge at Fort Mill. We'll have a game that we talked about earlier, South Florence at Goose Creek. That's going to be an awesome, awesome game. Lenore Sellers, a must-see talent to watch in that game for sure. We'll have Laurence at Hillcrest. This will be a fun game. I have a lot of respect and promise for that Laurence program. I thought they were really good last year. Again, they're another team they just weren't quite there. But they're a good team, and Hillcrest, they are there. Can they play up to their potential and play up to what they can fully do this year? We'll have to see. But that would be a fun game to start things off with. Laurence.
Could see some good points. Like I said, obviously we know what Hillcrest, they can score a lot of points there with Judy and McFadden and Coldren and Neal and all those guys. Lawrence can score it too with James Raw there at quarterback. He can sling it around too. I think the Rams are a little better. They probably win by a couple scores, but that should be a fun ball game Friday night over at Chandler Stadium.
Yeah, I think so. I think every Hillcrest game's gonna be fun to watch this year.
That's true. That's true.
We'll have a Midlands battle. We'll have Chapin at Irmo. We'll have Eastside at J.L. Mann. Aiken will go across the state line. They'll play Lakeside. We'll have River Bluff at Lugoff Elgin. Lugoff Elgin breaking in a new video board for their stadium. It looks awfully good. How many points did that worth? Well, unfortunately, I don't think it's worth any points. River Bluff will decide that, I suppose. And they're not going to be impressed by that stadium. River Bluff's got an awesome complex down there themselves. Yeah. We've got Grovetown out of Georgia. They will go up and play Midland Valley. Midland Valley is going to be an interesting team to watch. Getting
Trayvon
Dunbar from Silver Bluff. That's going to be a huge boost to that program for the Mustangs. We'll have Indian Land at Nation Ford. May River will play New Hempstead out of Georgia. We'll have Socastee at North Myrtle Beach. Rock Hill, now 15 years ago, this was a heck of a game, 15, 20 years. Rock Hill and Northwestern. So that'll be the Friday night game at District 3. That game really packed them in, and it'll still be a huge crowd.
Yeah, oh yeah,
but, I expect Northwestern to walk in that game. If you haven't kept up with Northwestern all season, they dropped down from 5A to 4A this year, though.
Yep.
So that'll be a big storyline for the Trojans this year. We'll have Blythewood at Ridgeview, a little Blythewood battle. Gonna be fun to watch the Blazers this year.
Yeah. They got to figure out the quarterback spot. And we got a couple kids that rotating. They've got so much talent around them with Lawson and Agnew and McDaniel. Got to find a way to get those guys the ball for sure.
Another game of the week we've got here, a Saturday night feature, Gaffney at South Pointe. That'll be, I tell you what, quite the weekend at District 3.
Yeah.
You're getting the Rock Hill Northwestern rivalry on Friday, and then number 1 versus number 1. State champions, Gaffney and South Pointe.
Yeah, and if you missed our preview of that at the beginning of the show, I'll just rewind it or get done check it out at the beginning. We talked through that game pretty heavy on the Stallions and the Indians. Should be a really good ball game. So if you're interested in that one, go check it out here when we're done at the beginning of the show.
We'll have Westwood at Spring Valley.
That'll be a fun game there. I like that one.
Jarrell and I had some very differing opinions in this game when we were talking earlier today. So that'll be a toss-up between us boys here. And we'll have Lexington going out to West Florence.
A fun matchup there. I like what West Florence is doing. That quarterback Deuce Hudson's a really good player. Coach Generate does a good job there. They've got some really good linebackers, Kelvin Hunter and those guys. I think West Florence wins this ball game because I don't know enough about Lexington yet. I feel like to feel confident picking those guys.
You know, I talked in the previous show. Lexington's a good team. I think they're going to be pretty good this year. They're just in the unfortunate situation of being in that Dutch Fort region. They just kind of get overshadowed. And that's partly our fault. But they're a quality team. I think West Florence better, though. I think West Florence can win that game. But that's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, for sure.
That should be a fun game. And Lexington certainly has, I think, ability to win that. We go to 5A, got some interesting matchups here. Stratford going on the big road. I say big road, they might be getting on a plane. They go up to Ohio to play Avon High School. Don't know anything about those guys, but they're probably pretty good.
Yeah, I can't tell you a dang thing about Avon.
I don't know. I've heard of, what was it, Massillon High School in Ohio? Yeah. There's a handful of those Ohio high schools you hear about a lot.
Yeah.
Avon, I don't think is one of them not one that I recognize. We've got West Brunswick out of North Carolina. They'll come down and play Carolina Forest. Carolina Forest looking for a bounce back year.
Yep.
They had some hard luck with
a lot of COVID stuff in the last year. That hurt them out.
We'll have, let's see, Dutch Fork will play Huff High School out of the Charlotte area.
I believe that's in Charlotte in
Yes.
some not tournament, but like some kind of little couple game feature on this weekend as well.
And Huff is a team that they traditionally have some pretty good talent out of that high school. I think Dutch Fork is the premier program in that particular game, but it's going to be certainly a different look for the Silver Foxes, and it should be a pretty good high quality game. If you're around the Charlotte area and you got a chance to check that one out. That'll be a good one to see. We got Spartanburg. They're going to play Langston Hughes out of Georgia. Really excited about Spartanburg.
Yeah,
I think
Jeter and Carter and Dan, those guys are fun to watch on offense for sure.
We'll have, let's see, that is, one more game we've got here. Boiling Springs will be at TL Hannah. That'll be the last game to round it out.
Interesting matchup there. You know, Coach Real, first game for Boiling Springs. TL Hannah replacing, was it 40 seniors we said last week, something like that.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one. I don't know a whole lot about what Boiling Springs has got this year.
New coach.
Yeah, they got a new coach. That'll be a fun one. I don't know what to think about that game, That'll be an interesting matchup over in Anderson.
Another, kind of coin flip. I side with the program that's traditionally a little bit better, and that would be Hannah, and they're getting to play at home.
Yep.
But yeah, and this is going to be another great game just for all of us to see, okay, what is Boiling Springs? What are they going to look like this year under a new staff? And Hannah, after losing all those 12th graders, how are they going to look?
Yeah.
Who's going to step up? Because they got talent. They're going to have somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to step up and be a playmaker. Just who is it going to be, and can they find him in week 0?
That's right. A couple more games here out of the Skeezer ranks. I'll mention here. Our friends, Coach Weigler, Ben Lippin, his first game to be over at Asheville Christian, North Carolina. We've got Charleston Collegiate playing Holy Trinity. Hammond playing Prince Avenue Christian out of Georgia.
Okay.
I think that team's pretty good over there. That should be a fun matchup there to check out. And then I also wanted to mention Portergaud and Bishop England.
That's a big-time game.
Yeah, fun matchup there between those guys on the Skeezer side. John, anything else you want to hit on before we give another shout-out to our friends here and then kind of get out of here for the week?
No, I'm really excited about some of these cross-classification matchups. Yeah. I think as I've gotten older, I've started to put away the stigma of, a 3A team can't beat a 4A team.
Yeah.
No way, a 3A team could beat a 5A team. Maybe that gap is just getting shorter, but there's some good games.
There are.
Regardless of the classification. If you're good, you're good.
No doubt. If you guys are at a game this weekend, be sure to send us your photos and thoughts. So you can even get on the new message board on our website, movingchains.com, and comment on the message board about the game you saw. So that would be fun to see. But quick shout out again to the Georgia Agency, full line insurance agency in Mullins and Merle's Inn. They can help you all across the state, whether you need insurance for yourself, like if you're a seasonal worker or something like that, or if you need insurance for your job, for your whole company, if you're a business owner, check them out, georgiaagency.net. Our preview show brought to you by Security Advantage Federal Credit Union tonight. Offer much lower loan rates and don't charge the fees that other banks do. SecurityAdvantageFCU.com. Win at banking, thrive at life. Our game of the week brought to you by Kona, the most advanced training and experienced in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Kona.care, that's Kona.care. And then our Stock Up, Stock Down brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Train your financial skills with our wide array of financial tools and services. Relax, join Founders.com. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union. So appreciate all those guys for helping this show to be possible tonight, John. I know we talked about it a little bit last week in the previous show. If you guys are just tuning in, we appreciate you joining us. So we've got Tyrell and a host of other folks in here. Marvin, Eli, Tim, Patrick, Daryl, Cam, Travis, Cody, and on and on and on and on. So lots of really good names. Andrew, James, etc. Appreciate you guys, but we've got a lot of new stuff coming in this year for you guys. We just launched our new website, movingchains.com, last week. Be sure to check it out. We're going to have all our videos on there. We're going to have our road trip on there. We're going to have our polls on there. We've got a message board, the locker room. You have to go in there, join the locker room, make comments on 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, etc. They'll be a part of that. We've got our new pick'em that's just going again, John. We said that we've got 11 games each week to make a pick on. Winner at the end of the year gets a prize. So definitely get in there and make some picks, make some pop-up prizes along the way. We'll see how that goes, but definitely get to be a part of that and join our pick'em for sure.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun with the pick'em last year. That was a lot of fun to keep up with. And I'm really pumped about the message board. I put a question on there, and I misspoke. I thought it was going to be tonight. It's actually Thursday night. Xavier McLeod, the defensive tackle out of Camden, is going to make his decision where he's going to play his college ball. Go to the message board. Tell me what you think about it. Tell us what you think about other recruiting stuff. You guys are closer to some schools and programs and kids than we are, and probably know more than we do about certain things. Let's throw out some wild predictions here. Hey, there's no big rules, right? We can talk about whatever. So love to see that get fired up. I know that'll just take some time once everybody gets in. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, shout out Patrick. I see you in here, buddy. I'm sure you'll be over at Gaffney, South Pointe on Saturday night. We're looking at going to that one too. If you missed our preview, we started the show with that one, so definitely go check that out. I think both of us are leaning Gaffney, but it should be a fun ball game there. A couple other new things we got coming. So we're gonna have players of the week, John. We've got some cool stuff going out to those guys. So if you see a kid who had a great game, yardage stats wise or whatever, send us that stuff so we can pick them. We don't know about these guys. We can't beat every game, so if we miss something, don't blame it on us. We just hadn't seen those stats.
Help us out there.
Send us that. And also Friday nights, you're gonna want to be on Twitter for this, guys. Friday nights, the Friday night wrap-up show we'll be doing on Twitter Spaces. Basically, we'll be talking scores live. You guys can join us. You guys can give us a thoughts on the game that you were in as well. We've got some coaches lined up to come on with us. That's gonna be super fun to do Friday nights. Definitely check that out over on Twitter. But just go check out our website, movingchains.com. It's got all this information on it. So a lot of really good stuff here, John. Anything else before we head off for the night?
I just want to mention one thing.
Yeah.
I looked up Puff High School.
Yeah.
They've got two guys. They've got a 3-star quarterback for them, Tad Hudson.
Okay.
He is a North Carolina commitment, leading the helm there. So that'll be interesting to watch. He's rated as the 22 player out of the state of North Carolina.
Very
and
nice.
the running back, also a 3-star guy, getting a lot of looks. So definitely some talent over there at Huff that Dutch Fork will have to contend with.
Very nice, very nice. Well, man, this has been a great show, John. I'm ready to have football back. Like, that's so exciting to have something that actually, games that mean something this weekend. And, if you guys want to, you could go every night. We got Wednesday night, Peely and Bowman.
Yeah.
We've got Thursday night, Marion Lakeview. We got Friday night, tons of great games. Saturday, Gaffney, South Pointe. Make a whole weekend of it. Just start traveling around. There'll be a lot of really good stuff to keep up with this week for sure.
Now, I'm looking at some of the Georgia prospects here. We've got a little bit of an issue. Not an issue. Some excitement on our hands. Who is it that's playing Langston Hughes?
Spartanburg.
Whoa. They're going to have to deal with a safety that is committed to Auburn, number 12 player in the state of Georgia, Terrence Love, and then also a 6'7", 290-pound offensive tackle, young man named Jonathan Hughley, a Georgia commitment out of that Hughes High School program. So Spartanburg going to have their hands
it'll be a fun
full
game for the Vikings
week one.
Friday night.
That'll be a cool one. I think that game is in Georgia.
Yes, it is.
But hey, what's a trip if you're a big Vikings fan? Get out there and see those guys, mix it up with them.
For sure. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Like we mentioned, as always, this is your first time. Follow us on Facebook at Movin' Chains, Twitter, same handle, Instagram, same handle, YouTube, etc. We do our weekly preview shows here on Tuesday night. Watch all those with us if you don't mind. We also do a recap show on Sunday. We put out on Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, etc. It's an audio-only version there. Also, it's sprinkling some interviews throughout the year as well. So definitely check us out on all that stuff. And like we always say, if you guys go to a game, let us know your comments. Let us know your thoughts. We can't be everywhere, so we appreciate y'all jumping in with comments tonight. But I think that's all I've got, John. For John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. It's been our Moving the Chains week 0 preview show. I want to say week 1, this is so dumb. But this is our week 0 preview show for Moving the Chains. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Have fun in the ball game this weekend, and we'll check you out soon.